COVID-19 or COVID, as it is more commonly referred to, is an infectious disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This is an enveloped virus, ranging in size from 20 nanometers to as large as 500 nanometers. Fixed all around SARS-CoV-2 are these finger-like projections called spike proteins. They bind to our epithelial cells. They will bind to a specific receptor, angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, ACE2. This receptor can be found in the human throat as well as the lungs. COVID is extremely communicable and can be spread in several ways. The main form of spread being airborne particles, but another very common one being through objects that we handle in everyday situations, like our phones. We handle our phones daily without even thinking, but if the virus lands on the phone, it is possible for people to become infected if they touch it, and then touch their nose, mouth, or eyes. Everyone is at risk of contracting this extremely communicable disease, however the severity of its effects vary for individuals of different ages and morphology. Two groups of individuals who are directly affected in a more severe manner, as a result of COVID, are elderly people, and individuals who are obese. Physiological changes and underlying health issues come with aging. A reduction in the number of ciliated cells, and increased nasal cavity with decreased resistance, make it more difficult to eliminate pathogens like SARS-CoV-2. Immunocompromised elderly people are taking medication that may weaken their immune system, and so when infected by the virus, they have a much harder time fighting it, and sometimes their bodies simply are not able to. Obesity plays a key role in the severity of COVID-19. The virus can make its way into one's system by binding to the ACE2 receptor. These receptors are quite prevalent in adipose or fat tissue. Given that an obese person has more adipose tissue in their body, they have more binding sites for the virus. More binding sites means higher expression of the virus, and higher expression in turn leads to a more severe reaction to the disease. There are several ways of preventing the spread and severity of COVID-19. Wearing a face mask traps respiratory droplets that are released when you talk, cough, or sneeze. It also acts as a barrier to protect you from inhaling droplets released by others. It is important that the mask covers both your nose and mouth. Vaccines are incredibly useful. They are administered in a muscle in the upper arm. It enters the muscle cells and teaches your cells to make a piece of a spike protein that is found on the surface of the virus. This then triggers an immune response to build antibodies. In this way, you build immunity to COVID-19 without getting the illness. Washing your hands, and consistently disinfecting regularly used objects and surfaces, is also very essential in preventing the spread of the virus. I'd like to give a big thank you to Dr. Slush, and all my references. This concludes my presentation.